start with the one con, which I give zero fucks about, which is the idea that somehow doing this breaks a norm or makes it easier for Trump to do what he wants to do when he leaves office. Trump's going to do what Trump wants to do no matter what, whether Biden does preemptive pardons or not. Trump will, if he wants to do the same thing, he'll do the same thing for his people. We should stop reverse engineering our ideas around or our actions around things Trump may or may not do. Yeah. That is stupid. The pros here are pretty clear. Donald Trump campaigned on prosecuting his political opponents. He picked someone to head the FBI who published a literal enemies list of people to prosecute. Like there's no subtlety happening here. And
what an appendix, you know?
Yeah.
And this, in the back of the book.
He was hoping people wouldn't find it, but we did. And so the idea of preemptive pardons is a rational response to what Trump is promising to do with his words and his actions. And if you run around saying and believing, as Joe Biden has done and said, and I think we have said and believe, that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy, this sort of action, a preemptive pardon, is a rational response to that threat. The con here is also pretty serious, which is people don't trust government. They think everyone's corrupt. And these people did nothing wrong. Didn't even, like, these are invented crimes. Like, they're not even, like, Trump can't even define the crimes they committed. And if you offer them pardons, it's going to give people a reason to believe that the crimes were really committed, that the Biden administration really was corrupt, that these people really did do something wrong. Because why would you do that? It's hard to explain to the median voter that we need these pardons because of someone named Kash Patel. Like, that doesn't make sense. And you're just going to assume your natural inclination is people are corrupt. So that's the downside to it, I think.
It's funny. I didn't think about that downside. I guess if I was going to announce it and I was Joe Biden, I would like play maybe even a longer supercut like the one we just did of all the times and all the people Trump said he was going to prosecute, and then put Kash Patel in there too, saying that he's going to come after people and whoever else is in his administration, and be like, that's why I'm doing this. These people did not commit any crimes. They're innocent. I mean, I don't know. You're right. That, like, that's the way that people would consume the news about it could lead them to believe that these folks are actually guilty. I think the other con is, or at least one of the challenges with doing this is, where do you draw the line? Where do you stop? Like, who's on the list?
I know. That's pretty clear.
Oh.
You start with Anthony Fauci and you end somewhere right after podcasters. Like, that's the plan.
Apparently, the Washington Post followed up on the J Mart's reporting today. They said that people who have been discussed are General Milley, Fauci, Schiff, Cheney. Jim Clyburn, I think, gave an interview to CNN. He said that Jack Smith's on his list. But you can start to see where this grows. Like, yeah. All right, so Jack Smith's on the list. What about Jack Smith's whole team? What about, like, most of the Justice Department? I mean, the danger is that Biden saves a bunch of people, and Lovett brought this up on Tuesday, then, like, the next group of mid-level people have targets on their backs.
Yeah, there are 1 million challenges to this approach. I think if you're going to do it, you should at least limit it to people who worked in the administration, who did things that Joe Biden asked them to do as part of their jobs. And therefore, like, once you start getting members of Congress, I think that's ridiculous. Once, is it going to be Schiff, Cheney? What about Eric Swalwell? They seem to hate Eric Swalwell and keep accusing him of espionage. What about Joe and Mika? What about Leslie Stahl? What about the producer? Like, it just goes down the road.
I think Joe and Mika secured their freedom.
well, I mean, if they're waiting with bated breath to find out, I'm sure. And so you could go down the line forever if you were to do this. Fauci, Milley, Jack Smith, but it's hard. Like, there is no good answer here. We are in unprecedented and dangerous territory. I do think it's good that they are contemplating it and thinking about it, because I think there has been this sense, and I've felt this since the election, that it's like, oh, Donald Trump's this huge danger. Oh my God, everything's terrible. And then it's like, it's not really not that bad, as bad as you think it is. And it is an important corollary to the conversation around the Hunter Biden pardon, right? Where it's not just that, right? That one went first because of the sentencing, but at least you're thinking of other ways to do it. And if he does do it, and this is my main criticism of the Hunter Biden pardon. I understand why. I was kind of mad about it at first. I now understand why Biden did it. I probably would have done the exact same thing. In fact, I'm 100% sure I would do the exact same thing. But if he were to do it, he's got to go out and explain it. You can't do a paper statement on Sunday night. You have to just go out and defend it. And just like the way you said it, we don't want to do this. Wasn't our choice, but he picked a guy to head the FBI who published an enemies list. So maybe I should protect the people on the list, right? Like maybe just use that list.
Yeah, I mean, look, I we talked about this Tuesday, and I if I was in his shoes, I probably would have done the same thing too. I do think that if you imagine what you just suggested, which is like, imagine if Biden comes out and includes the Hunter pardon with this like blanket preemptive pardon for all the people who have been part of the administration or worked closely with Joe Biden that Trump has specifically mentioned that he wants to prosecute, and same thing with Kash Patel, and same thing with anyone else in his orbit who's explicitly listed people that they want to prosecute, and you did it all at once. You probably don't get the blowback, or at least you don't get as much blowback as he did by just. And I still think like if he decides not to do these at all, and only pardons Hunter, and then we're in 2025 and Trump's president, and suddenly there's a whole bunch of prosecutions. Like, you know, that's a con for not doing it. Because, but I don't think it's like I was in favor of this. You know, when I first heard about it, it's not like cut and dry and easy. Also, by the way, the other thing is that the pardons don't protect you from like a crazy red state prosecutor, attorney general, someone in a red state, like state level crimes, right? You're not protected from. And then the other challenge here is, you know, the Hunter pardon was this very sweeping blanket pardon. Any crimes that may have been committed over a 10-year period. The only other time there was a pardon that sweeping in modern history was the pardon that Ford gave Nixon. It was preemptive and it was pretty complete. These kinds of pardons have not been tested at the Supreme Court yet. Like pardons for crimes that have not been committed that are not specified in the pardon. So there is like a risk there, but it's fucking crazy, by the way, that we're just we should have said at the outset. It's crazy that we're talking about this. It is like,
and that it's not insane that Biden's thinking about it, right? That's the thing.
It's fucking nuts. It also is like the pardon power is really stupid. Bad move from the founders. Because I mean, you're
not their only one, John.
But like your point at the beginning, where it's like, oh yeah, Trump's gonna do what Trump's gonna do. That is true, but like, I mean, Trump could just basically come into office and say, everyone should go commit crimes, go kill people, go do whatever, and I'll pardon you afterwards. No big deal. And now the Supreme Court has said he can't be prosecuted for that. He wouldn't be impeached for that because, you know, Republicans do whatever he says. And so that's it.
Yeah, we have been with the Supreme Court's immunity decision and all of this conversation around pardons just sort of codified something that became obviously true during the Trump administration, which is a president can commit, at least a Republican president can commit any crimes they want. They can't be charged while in office. They cannot be impeached because of the radicalization of the Republican Party and polarization. And now, because of the Supreme Court, they can commit crimes out of office.
Yeah. What did you make of Schiff's comments about? I mean, now I would say that I think if you want a preemptive pardon, you probably wouldn't publicly say that you want a preemptive pardon. First rule of preemptive pardon club.
Yes.
Guess we broke that. But do you think he just cares about the norms because he's a norms guy?
He is a norms guy. I think it's the norms and trust that he's very, very smart. This is incredibly complicated. This is sort of things that White House advisors and lawyers and legal scholars can sit around, discuss for 17 straight days and come to no conclusion and end up not doing it because it's so complicated because there is no obvious way to do it. I do think I imagine the Schiff is also concerned about what it says to the public about the party.
Yeah.
People are going to think you're guilty of crimes.
Yeah.
It's just, it reinforces their view that everyone's corrupt.
Yeah.
Like if Trump, going out of office, if Trump had just unilaterally pardoned all of his people for anything that may have happened, imagine what we would have thought about that. Imagine what the average voter would have thought about that.
I mean, he tried to overturn the election and incited a violent insurrection, and then everyone was like, yeah, let's take another flyer on the guy.
Well, the point is Democrats will have a few years to fix the problem, but